Her life just went from bad to worse. Actually, it went from shit to shitty shit. Now, her life was she was in an asylum since she was 3 years old. Her life was already shitty shit. Her life was fucking shitty bullshit. Her life is beyond shitty shit. It's fucking shitty
Let's
shit
look for
bullshit.
Renee's room in the slightly agitated ward.
Where in fuck is a slightly agitated ward? That's clearly where I'm looking for.
When there was too much chaos, they closed all the windows and the door. They turned off the lights, and it was pitch black. Some people fell asleep. Some others stopped seeing their demons and became more calm.
But all were fucked. Looking for a Renee's room. And you're taking away people's senses from them. I think it's pretty clear whose room this is.
Montefoscoli, December 20th, 1941. Dear Director, could you please let me know how my daughter, your patient Renee T, is getting along?
What?
I've written to my daughter several times, but have received no reply.
No shit.
I'm very worried, particularly as I've been ill for some time and have not been well enough to come and visit her. Please kindly let me know when it will be possible for me to bring my daughter home. Your humble servant, Ada T. Bring this letter to the attention of Dr. C so he can assess the potential discharge of the patient.
No shit. By the way, one thing I want to mention too. So the things that I've been talking about, as far as the asylums go, as far as the administrative part of it go, with the admissions and getting out with the 5 or 6 signatures, that is true in the United States. One thing I didn't consider is because this doesn't take place in the United States, so it may not have required 5 or 6 signatures for this hospital. I mean, it doesn't matter because Renee was still not getting out of this place no matter what happened. I just can't claim that it took 5 or 6 signatures because I genuinely don't know. Your humble servant, Ada. Huh. Okay, so I actually had to look up how to do this because I didn't know.
Let's close the window shutters, the door, and switch off all the lights. We want darkness. They put a straitjacket on you. They gave you a cold shower. They suffocated you with a sheet.
What? I didn't know about this. So they waterboarded you.
They tied you to the bed. They tied me to the bed.
Actually, I didn't know what the water.
A woman died next to me, choked by her own vomit. She was tied down because she wouldn't stop pleasuring herself.
Yep.
I can still hear her death rattle. I screamed, but nobody came. Everybody screamed in there, all of them. It was then I saw the doll, which wasn't Charlotte. No, she wasn't Charlotte. The past came back to hurt me again. In the loneliness of that crowded ward, he brought it with him. I thought I would never see him again. He'd come to remind me who I was. That's what my mother used to do. That's what I had done. It seems that my life in here was just a repeat of what it had been outside. The dull, the fear, the shame. I'd have loved to erase everything I did, but instead I always went ahead and did it again.
Chapter 9? I thought that was it. Oh. So there's no way to actually know how many chapters there are in this fucking game. Unless I looked up on the internet, but I don't care to do that. Huh. Dear mother. Interesting. But yeah, by the way, and that kind of shit would actually happen too. Like straight up. There really would be people where they would treat these patients like test experiments. They would actually let them do experiments on people. They would die over the simplest of reasons, watching over them without a care in the world. Like, it was fucked up.
Montefoscoli, November 12th, 1939. My dear daughter, it is with great sadness that I heard what happened. Your transfer and your sufferings are a cause of great worry for me. It will take time, but you'll see, things will improve. They'll treat you and you'll get better again. I pray a lot, every day. Write to me often and tell me if you need anything. I promise I'll do what I can. Try to be strong. Mom.
Nice words of encouragement, but they don't mean much.
This is the last letter she wrote to me. Once I was put into this ward, I was overwhelmed by loneliness. After that medical examination, I received no more letters from Mom. Why is that man here? Why doesn't she come to see me? Did I make a mistake? It didn't seem like she wanted to abandon me. What did I do wrong? I'd like to be able to reply to her again now, to change things.
Oh. True. 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 Hmm. One is pleading. Taking everything from me, everything. I'm so alone. I chose that one because it invokes a pathos response. If only you knew, if only you knew how much. Reason.
Perhaps she would have listened to me. Will she reply? The letters were sent to the archive. It was their job to post them.
First thing we gotta do is find the archive, which will probably take like 10 minutes. How many chapters does this game have, though? Oh, why can I? Oh, okay. Storeroom and archive, which is at 12, which is at the other side. Excellent. Remember how I mentioned that this game, I didn't know where the fuck the calm room was? Well, apparently you don't need to know, because there's a sign right there that tells you. But it didn't occur to me to look to it until just now.
When you were sent to a lunatic asylum, you lost the right to possess anything.
If you're a woman, you never had that
Everything
right
you
anyway.
arrived with was packed up and stored here, even the clothes you were wearing, in case you were released one day. But far too many never left.
I'd say you could probably count on one hand the number of people who did leave. Or two hands at the very most.
There must be a file with my name in the filing cabinet somewhere.
Well, where's the filing cabinet? Is this it? Renee, huh? There we go.
Dear Mother, please, I beg you, get me out of this place. I'm so frightened here. You were right. I know I was wrong. I understand. I'm so ashamed. If only you knew how much. But now I'll behave myself, I promise. Now things will be fine. I'll work hard. I'll be very good. Your daughter, Renee.
Of course, not fulfilled. Oh, so she did
This
actually write that letter.
It was Renee's letter, just as she wrote it back then. But it was never sent. Why? Why did this happen?
Of course they didn't send it. You kidding me?
I received your letter, Mom. You tell me to be patient and strong, while I only feel fear and pain. And you don't write to me anymore. If only these words could be my soul, I'd tell you what was happening to me. The kids want to kill me. They all look the other way and tell me what to do. I don't understand. She helps me, but what have they done to her? Can you tell me? Will you help me? Renee. Montefoscoli, July 7th, 1940. My dear daughter, I have received no news from you. You have not contacted me in months. I'm sorry, but I don't have the money to come and visit you. Do you remember Mr. Onofrio? He'll soon be in Volterra for business. I've asked him if he would be kind enough to ask the director for some news about you. I hope he'll bring me some good news when he returns. But please write to me. I know that I was strict with you. You have to forgive me. I didn't think. I've given Mr. Onofrio a new doll for you. You told me that you lost yours, and I know you loved it so much. It's not as nice as your Charlotte, but I hope that it will comfort you nonetheless. Keep your chin up, darling. Everything will be fine, you'll see. Mom. Montefoscoli, October 12th, 1940. My dear daughter, I've written 2 letters to you and have received no reply. Every day, I'm anxiously waiting for a letter. Mr. Onofrio's back. He brought you the doll. Do you like it? He told me he was unable to speak to the director, but managed to see you. I pray for you every day. Even Don Gino said a prayer for you during Sunday Mass. Isn't that nice? I've made up my mind, Renee. I'm bringing you home. I've already written to the director. I told him that I'll take care of you. I'm not very well at the moment and can't work, but I'll get better soon, you'll see. And as soon as I can make the journey, I'll come and fetch you. I know you're suffering a lot, but please be strong, I beg you. Mom will come to fetch Renee, won't she? Mom is good, but she's not well. That's why that man came. The doll. Renee could have played with it while she was waiting for her to arrive, but Renee didn't have it with her. Is it one of Mom's lies? She knew that she'd hurt Renee and... No, Mommy's good. That man brought it. We've just remembered who he is, haven't we? It was Renee who was wrong. The doll's here. I know that for sure. Perhaps she's been abducted like all the others and is locked up here somewhere.
All right.
Let's look for the second doll. It'll be among the bundles of the patient's belongings.
Alrighty. You know, I was actually initially gonna guess that it wasn't really her mom and that for whatever reason the director was like fucking with her and like, sending her fake letters. But I don't think so anymore. I think those letters are real. But here's my prediction. My prediction is one of two things. Either she never came around or she did come around, but like I said, because she's doing things on her own, they fucking put her in here. And then the end of the game is about you and her, Renee and the mother being in this fucking place together, side by side, locked up in adjacent beds. They didn't fuck around. I didn't even look for
Now we
that.
can open the bundle on that table in front of the window.
I don't see shit. Except for this doll.
You see? Mom was good. I was bad. Mom was worried about Renee and Charlotte. I abandoned Charlotte. We've abandoned her.
You let Charlotte go with all the lamps. How did you forget about her? Oh.
I didn't do anything. I just obeyed orders.
I only obeyed orders.
Charlotte has gone away. Mom will come and get us. She loves us, even though we're
obeyed
bad.
orders. Leave us alone. I didn't do anything. I only obeyed orders. Mom will come and get us now. I didn't do anything. I only obeyed orders.
Even though we're bad.
Mom won't leave us alone. I didn't do anything.
Charlotte gone away.
I only obeyed orders.
Mom will come and get us now. She loves us, even though we're bad.
I didn't do anything. I only obeyed orders.
Can I move? Nope. take a look around too. The way people are, their heads down, depressed, screaming, this is how it was. What, bitch? You bitch got a fucking problem? The fuck is this bitch doing? Oh no, they're gonna shock you. And yes, they did that. They didn't know what the fuck they were doing, so they were just testing shit out. And they fucked a lot of people up. Chapter 11. By the way, it kind of cut from the Jesus, that ring from the hallway to that room. That's just kind of how it loaded in.
Montefoscoli, December 20th, 1941. Dear Director, could you please let me know how my daughter, your patient Renee,
Already read this.
is getting along?
Dr. C, though. So that was that whole thing, just that vision? Because, like, that's all there was to that, was just that vision. Dr.
What was
C,
that
though.
doctor writing, sitting at his desk?
Oh, here's what he was working on.
September 7th, 1938. The patient frequently indulges in recriminations expressed in an explosive tone of voice. This morning she threw away the milk, saying it was full of urine, spittle, and all kinds of other filth. Crazed, she hears voices that order her to do things. She says she heard children singing and that they were locked up in a school. January 20th, 1939. Introverted, dazed, cannot focus on anything. When questioned and stimulated, she starts crying and weeping. At other times, she laughs. June 1st. Apathetic. Eats very little. She refuses to be touched. Does not respond. Spends her time in the grounds. The cooks report that she sits on a bench in front of the kitchens. October 14th. Return of impulsive behavior. This morning she asked for 2 eggs to make zabayoni, but when she got them, she threw them up in the air. Excited, clamorous, slightly confused, takes her clothes off. December 8th. Tied to bed for 15 days. High-spirited, tends to make witty comments and use vulgar words.
Fuck.
Laughs hysterically and pleasures herself. The nurses report that about 2 weeks ago she remained in the showers on her own and didn't want to leave. They said that when they took her away, she swore at them
Fuck
and
you.
then lashed out and bit them. 2 nurses had to be treated for their injuries. They've kept her tied to the bed since then. Transferred to the slightly agitated ward, from the care of Dr. B to the care of Dr. C. I was with Amara in the showers. My memories are terrifying. They're not real, are they?
Honestly, I don't know. Okay, so for this part, I'm gonna have to get real philosophical here. Okay, so when you first go to Charlotte, right? So like Charlotte was on the see, What I wonder if Charlotte was even actually a doll, or if she just kind of thought she was a doll. Like, cause this girl herself is on the chair, with all this shit. Um, so here's one thing that's going on here, right? There's a sort of thing with the narration going on. Part of it is that because this person Renee has a mental illness, they're what's referred to as an unreliable narrator, which is kind of interesting. I've never played a game with an unreliable narrator before, but this is gonna get philosophical. So, figment of my imagination, I don't know that, so I'm not gonna choose it. Reality, see, that's a physical. Here's what I'm gonna choose. Memory is what you are, whether it's real or not. That's what I'm gonna choose. I don't know
December
what the hell that
15th.
means.
Dr. C. Patient notes. The abnormality of her psychic state has induced her to lead a life which is irregular and tends towards delinquency. Of fickle and flighty character, she regularly discards her household duties and engages in occasional prostitution.
With other women, by mind you.
Prostitution? No one would have ever believed a lunatic, let alone a lunatic who lives in the worst sort of sin. Could such a person ever have been subject to sexual violence?
Absolutely.
Certainly not. Her mental deficiency makes her deaf to the reprimands of her family. She has shown suicidal tendencies. She was brought to the ward yesterday, agitated and hysterical. Treated with cardiazol, 2 injections a week for 5 weeks. They were only trying to confuse us with the therapy, and my God, they succeeded. It was as if they wanted to instill the madness into us.
I don't know if they wanted to, but they did. It was the only treatment they could try. They didn't give a shit. Okay, here's the thing. Like, the shit that she's exhibiting is the shit that she's trying to. It's the shit she's doing because of the shit that's happened to her. She's trying to cope with it, so she's doing all this shit. Like the prostitution thing, no shit. It all stems from the sexual shit from earlier. So yes, they are inducing that madness into you. Are they trying to fix it? Maybe they genuinely are. In fact, often here's the thing, like you can't blame it all on like so okay, and this is referring to the real shit from back in the day. Some of it, they really were like doing like experimenting on shit. They really were doing some of this shit just to do it, like basically the pieces of shit. But some of it was legitimately accidental, right? They would legitimately accidentally just fuck up because they didn't understand shit well enough. And then when they would fuck up shit, they would, in their own fucked up way, try to reverse course, right? Because they didn't know they fucked anything up in the first place. So they would fuck things up and then try. So they would fuck things up and then they would try to unfuck those things using the exact same, well, not the exact, but using fucked up treatments, just like the fucked up procedures in the first place. So fucked up procedure, fucks up patient, trying to unfuck patient, they use a fuck up treatment, which probably fucks up the patients even further. So I can't entirely just blame the people on this one. It was the only treatment they could try, potentially. There were so many of you. What could they do to manage what hell when there were so few of them? Like I was saying earlier, actually that's the other side of that coin too. I've only been talking about the patients here too. This is one aspect I don't know much on, but so like I said, they would often go 2 to 300, sometimes even more than that percent capacity on these fucking places. Well, here's the problem with that makes it even worse is that there were times when so the capacity for staff was the exact opposite. Cause and you can tell because who the fuck wants to be around this shit, right? Like who the fuck in their right mind wants to be around a bunch of fucking people? I mean, I know this is gonna sound wrong for me to talk about this, but it's just the honest truth. Who wants to be around a bunch of people who are fucked up like these guys are on a daily basis 24/7 and in the conditions that they're in? Like, it's making these people sane. Once again, sane people are going into these asylums, and it's so shitty it's making them insane. On the working side of things, like for the workers, who in fuck's name wants to be there voluntarily for all this shit? So, like, the capacity for patients was often way more than it was supposed to be, And oftentimes for the workers, they were lucky if they got 100% capacity on the workers. If you get what I'm saying, it makes it even worse. The ends always justify the means for those who wield power. Oh, yep. See, so this whole thing is a philosophical part of what I'm talking about right now. I basically just presented each one of these arguments over the course of this game. But here's the any one of them could be validated, and like the shit. I don't know which one to choose here because the shit that I'm talking about is for insane asylums as a whole, primarily in the United States, which I imagine they were mostly the same pretty much everywhere. But like, I don't know how this particular asylum handled shit.
The therapies removed the light for a while, but also all her will, desire, and hope.
I think I understand what the point of those things are now. I think that the lone figure is Renee, and that the bunch is the hospital. The therapies remove the light for a while, but also all her will, desire, and hope. Nah, you know what, bro? I'm gonna go this way. Yeah, fuck those guys.
June 2nd. After a long period of calm and improvement, the patient is very agitated today and vehemently refuses to submit to a gynecological examination. She swears and curses those helping her, flailing her arms and hitting them. According to reports by Dr. B, the patient has been subjected to periodic checkups since she had a spontaneous abortion about 2 years ago in her 3rd month of pregnancy. Conception occurred after she had sexual intercourse with a stranger who sneaked into the hospital grounds.
Or was it the guy?
Details are contained in the charges filed at police headquarters in Volterra, a copy of which is attached to these clinical notes. ES therapy. That's how the reality is concealed. It has all been planned very carefully.
That one was
June
easy.
13th. The nurses report that she descended into a state of great mental confusion after receiving her mother's letter. She threw her soup over another inmate because she was very anxious, and then punched a nurse. Impulsive, flails about her. She rails against the doctor in vulgar terms while he is examining her, lashes out and spits. Block all correspondence to give the patient no further reason to become agitated. August 20th, tied to bed. The nurses report that the patient is extremely agitated after the visit of a relative or family friend. 2 days later, she is still shouting all the time that he commands her, that she must obey and harm herself, and that she is not Charlotte. All visits forbidden, constrained to bed, and intensification of ES therapy until we achieve results. No contact with the outside. That way nobody knew what was happening within these walls.
This part is more difficult. Because this is giving Heinz. Of course, these notes are apocryphal in themselves because the doctor could, like I said, this shit was fucked up. The doctor could write down whatever the fuck he wanted, right? But, like, the way it's worded is that definitely, this shit's all her fault, technically, because of her illness. Like, she's lashing out and shit, and the hospital is doing their best. That's kind of how this is going. And it also explains the shit, like, why nothing was ever delivered. Because of course it wasn't, because they were trying to make her feel better, whatever, right? Like, she's a problem patient. Well, my only issue with it, like, it presents two sides of an argument, though, and so you got both sides to an argument, but both sides are unreliable. Renee's perspective is reliable because she has a fucking mental illness, right? Like, she's not always connected to reality. And then the other side is unreliable because they're gonna write up whatever the fuck they need to in order to protect themselves. Was thrown in here and locked away to make the world forget about it. That's true. The people who were in here were no longer human beings, as conservative keep it quiet. That's true too. You don't remember what happened when the letters arrived? How can you judge? God knows how much suffering they spared you. You know what, dude? No. No. Okay, I was
March
wrong. I don't know what the
3rd.
fuck those mean.
Alert, correct attitude, replies when questioned. The nurses report that the patient is calm. She washes and looks after herself. She affirms the existence of a certain Amara. She says that Amara is a patient who disappeared when she was moved to this ward. No confirmation. Probably a regressive hallucination. Evaluate transfer. Did I imagine Amara? That's not possible. She was there. I know she was there. I feel it. She must have left some traces of her presence. We can look for her things in the storeroom containing the bundles of the patient's belongings on the upper floor.
For things in the storeroom containing the bundles of patients' belongings in the room. Storeroom containing.
These are Amara's things, I'm certain.
We'll see.
Amara, there she is. She existed. She really did exist. There she is, my friend. March 12th, 1938. The young girl Renee arrived today. Poor thing, she was terrorized. You see, she remembers the first time we met. I talked to her mother, the dear lady, and she expressed her fears to me, and I promised I'd keep an eye on her daughter. The lady told me her daughter's doll had been taken away, and this worried her, because when she becomes depressed, as she is now, Renee barricades herself in her room and can't communicate. The doll becomes her voice, eyes, and ears. Dr. B said I'll soon get out of here. I'm sorry. I'm so sad to leave Renee. I won't be able to protect her anymore. My poor friend. She was hoping to be able to get out of here, but nobody ever leaves this place. That poor girl is really ill. I am the only one she ever speaks to. I told her I was leaving, and she stared at me, saying that I would never leave. It was quite unnerving, and then she started to cry. I felt like crying too. She didn't say anything else. What worries me is that I'm sure that terrible man is watching her. He was the one who brought her here, and of all the good people, why did it have to be him? She knew. I told her everything. She knew about that man. But I instructed a nurse friend of mine to keep an eye on her, and I'm sure she will, because she's a good woman. Her friend the nurse. I vaguely remember. She worked on this ward. Let's look for signs of the nurse in the nurse's room on the upper floor.
Alrighty. Oh, this is a locker room.
She worked mostly in the Marigliano pavilion. Let's get out of here and find that pavilion. Renee was alone here. Charlotte had abandoned her. And without Charlotte, Renee couldn't communicate with the outside world. Mother knew that.
Mongo's in a different pavilion nearby. Let's follow the signs. It's gotta be outside. Okay, so I just look at what a pavilion is. A pavilion is basically a smaller sub-building outside of a main normal building. Or so the internet tells me. But that probably means I have to go outside. Well, this is the front door. It's outside somewhere, so there's got to be some sort of building that I missed somewhere. Convenient. So I'm going the right way. That looks like it just kind of ends. Oh, wait, is it that? I wasn't paying enough attention to that. Maragliano, right? That sounds about right. Yep, Maragliano. Interesting.
She's kind to everyone, even me. I felt a little better when I saw her. The sick children laughed and played with her.
Oh, this is like a
Not even
children's
they could frighten
building.
me. Don't annoy Renee. She's a princess here. Didn't you know? She told stories. She said there was a war out there. But they stared at me and frightened me. They would come to look for me in the evening, and then no one would have protected me. Not even you, Charlotte. Am I right?
Okay. So this, huh? Oh. Yeah, okay. So this is like a children's building, chapter 12. Huh. So is this like the last chapter? Because I can't imagine there's too many more of these things. Yeah, so this is like the children's building.
Let's follow the hearse until we reach the graveyard.
Oh. Oh, okay. That works for me. Yeah, so full disclosure. So actually, it makes sense, you know, they would have a building specifically for children, you know, because like, you know, people didn't come here as children. Full disclosure though, I have no knowledge on how children were treated in insane asylums, right? Like whether it was the same, whether they were treated differently or not, I have no knowledge. So if so far in this playthrough, if it seemed like I'm like the arbiter of all things, you know, and regarding insane asylums, I'm not. I know a lot, but I don't know everything. Oh, there we go. There we go, graveyard. So, I know nothing, also, about any graveyards with relation to insane asylums. But it does make perfect sense that they would have them. Because the amount of people who died, especially because of them, unreal. Hello, hearse. Holy shit.
There's Charlotte. My voice, my eyes, my ears, my very soul.
You're very
Let's
soul.
go and play together again.
Oh.